Hey everybody, how's it going? It's Edwin back again for Strictly Comics, and I wanted to just come at you and do a comic book review. I know that I have not done a comic book review in quite a long time, and purposes behind that has been because of my work schedule. I work, at least 40 hours a week, sometimes 50, and by the end of the day, I really just don't want to come home and do much of anything. But it's Thanksgiving. We're not scheduled to eat till later on tonight. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to do a comic book review. I woke up this morning. I'm behind on my reading. I wanted to get caught up on some reading. So I was like, I'm going to get into some comic books. So I finished the last 3 issues of TMNT City Fall. That's right. I finished the last 3 issues of City Fall. The conclusion just came out yesterday, and first I want to say is this is such an awesome read, you guys. Kevin Eastman, Bobby Curnow, and Tom Waltz, these 3 is who the story is by. The script is by Tom Waltz. These guys have just done a phenomenal job. And writing is so important. It's so critical in today's comic books. Back in the 90s when I was growing up, people were really into the visual aspect of comic books. They were really into how good the art was. The art was pretty much the bread and butter of how books were back then. Now, not so much more. Now people are looking for really good content, really good story, just really, really good reads. And I think that's really important, especially when you're spending $3.99 on a book. But I want to get into this story because I was just so impressed by it. I was just like, I started to get into Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles when Slash was introduced, I think in issue 17 or 18. And then the Neutrinos came along shortly after that. And then, that's just kind of where I started. And then I really got into it when I read Secrets of the Foot or History of the Foot. It was like a 4-issue miniseries. That right there really just sucked me in because the story was just so good. Mateus Santolouco has been the artist. He's been pretty consistent. This guy just draws Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles very, very good. I know that Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird, they're the original creators. I wasn't really a big fan of the original artwork, but it's definitely evolved with Mateus Santolouco. And God, I just can't say enough about his artwork. I think he does such a great job, and he gives such a human look in a sense, especially within the eyes of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And he's done such a good job. I gotta stop because I don't like these long videos. So let me get into it. First, I want to say, in this issue, as soon as you open up the first page, you see Bebop and Rocksteady with the chainsaw that says City Fall. I thought that was really, really cool. Bebop and Rocksteady were kind of introduced, I think, in the villains issue that had them like a week or 2 ago. And kind of their origin story, it's slightly altered from the cartoon that we all grew up with in the 80s, but it was still good nonetheless. And these guys are just straight up gangsta. They are hard to take down. They're very, very rugged, very tough. And the Ninja Turtles really have their hands full with these 2. They're still not as they're still pretty dumb like compared to the cartoon, but they seem to be more massive in stature and strength, which kind of gives them at least the edge physically against the Turtles. But these guys are just no joke. I was really pleased to see them finally come into the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles world because there's that whole nostalgic feeling that comes with it, especially if you grew up with the Ninja Turtles back in the 80s. In this issue, we also see Casey Jones. He has kind of a heart-to-heart with his dad, who is Hun, which I did not know. I remember Hun in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles reboot that they had back in 2001, 2002, something like that. And there's just some really, really good pages, like right here, where Casey just, takes a whack at his dad, just knocks the crap out of him. That was really cool. And then also within this page, April kind of has a part because she's not skilled in ninjutsu or anything like that. She kind of does what she can, and she ends up getting her hands on some really high tech weaponry by Donatello's science friend. I forgot what his name is. So she kind of has a part right here. So she has like this kind of cloaking device, and at the same time, it's like this, this hand device which has a force which can push away or carry almost any object of any size or weight. And this was badly needed because of the monstrosity of these villains like Bebop and Rocksteady and the Foot Clan in its numbers. So it kind of balanced the fight out a little bit more, because if it was just the Turtles against all these people, it would have been very unrealistic, and it would have maybe disappointed me a little bit, especially if they would have came out of it or ended up beating all of them. Because it was like, we know we love the Turtles, but they're just not that, they're not that dominant, especially with those kind of numbers. So that was kind of good that they balanced the story out a little bit with the good guys with this advanced technology. Also, we see in here, Splinter ends up fighting the Shredder, fighting for his son. Understandable. You don't want nothing to happen to your son. And also they're trying to get Leonardo back in this issue, because Michelangelo in the previous issue found out where the Shredder was holding this meeting of gang members and crime lords at this abandoned theater, and he was basically setting the tone and letting everybody know basically that he is in charge now. He's taken over, and he ends up taking the leader of the Savate and using him as an example on the stage in front of everybody who was seated, and he just cuts his head off. I was like, whoa, that's pretty extreme. I've never seen something like this in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, so when he did it, I was like, holy crap, like, this dude is for real. So he does that, basically shocks everybody and just puts fear in everybody, and is basically like, you're going to do what I say, otherwise I'm going to kill you. And the Foot Clan, in its numbers and their mystery, their mysterious ways of no talking, being in the shadows, just striking quickly, not they're about business. It kind of proves to everybody else that these guys are for real. Like, they're no joke. They have principles. They have codes that they go by. So I think it just really set the tone for what it was that Shredder was trying to do. The Splinter, like I said, he gets his foot broken right here by the Shredder. And then Alloplex ends up kind of seeing Shredder who he really is. And he ends up kind of like going against the Shredder a little bit, which was a really surprise, because I just read the previous issue and I never really saw this adjustment in his character taking place. And I didn't really see that coming, so I don't know where that came from. And then also, toward the end here, the Shredder has these other gang members that are basically kind of paying a sacrifice at the altar of his feet, and they just have these huge bags of money, basically showing them being submissive to his ways and the way that he wants to do things, and in a way they're just doing it basically because they understood clearly that if they went against the Shredder, they were going to die, and they feel like it's better just to go along with him and live versus trying to go against him and die. So they submit to him. They give him their sacrifice. Shredder definitely has the city in his grasp like how he wants. The only thorn in his side is the Turtles. They're the only ones who go against the grain of what the Shredder's trying to do. So that is one thing that he is looking to definitely get back, or he's looking to definitely eliminate. In case you're wondering, yes, Leonardo is back. The Turtles end up getting away with him through, just a lot of memories start to come into play. He really starts to see that this isn't where he belongs. Plus, with the assistance of dreams that he was having of this lady who he called his mother, telling him that this is not where he belongs. And also at the beginning of the story, you actually see through the dream that if he continues to go in this process, if I'm not mistaken, that he was going to die and his brothers were going to die. This is not a place where he belongs. He needs to get out. And yeah, so it's really, really good. I'm glad to see him back, but at the same time, he still has this, he's still confused about who he is and who he should trust and who his friends are and who's not. So he goes with the Turtles, but he ends up keeping his distance a little bit until things start to clear up within his mind. So in the end, they get Leonardo back. None of the good guys die, but they end up fleeing because they know that immediately the Shredder will be seeking them out to kill them. And in a way, they need to get away because they need to recuperate, they need to heal, they need to get right mentally, they need to regroup. And one of the things I really took notice of was at the bottom here, Slash ends up getting Leonardo's foot gear right here. What this does is it puts Slash in his official costume. And a lot of you older guys, if you remember him back in the 80s, when he's first introduced, especially with the toy line, he has the purple bandana. He has the two, Wolverine claw-like thing. And you see within the comic that this is where he gets it from. He gets it from Leonardo because Leonardo gives it up and hands it over to him. I thought this was really cool. I really like how they're tying in the story with storylines from back in the day and just kind of reintroducing them, but in a way reinventing them as well into modern times like today. So I really, really like that. My conclusion with this, I think it's an 8-part story, 7 or 8-part story. My conclusion of City Fall was it's still very, very good. It's still the number 2. It's a number 2 story of the 5 stories that I have been reading. I highly, highly, highly recommend this. It's a 22-page comic. They're not shorting you. They're not cheating you. This is a very good storyline. I highly recommend you guys should definitely get this. My final rating for storyline and this book is a 4.5 out of 5. My only 2 gripes were that the way that they got Leonardo back, I felt like it was done a little too easy and a little too smoothly. And at the same time, they rushed a conclusion in one issue. I really didn't like that. I thought that they should have maybe at least taken a couple of issues to do this. I hate it when story arcs end in one issue. You just bunch it all together. But nonetheless, it was still very, very good. If you guys are not reading this, pick it up or wait for the trade. I'm pretty sure it may be out soon. So yeah. Also, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share these videos. I always appreciate it. Keep God first in your life. Enjoy your comic books, though, and God bless you guys. I'm out of here.